they would have put ads in community papers, and they were cleverly written ads, very positive. Come to us, we'll give you money, no worries.
Around the world, people like Maureen were encouraged to borrow from subprime lenders. The bait was easy money, the trap disproportionately high interest rates. But as more people defaulted on bad loans, banks buckled under the pressure, sparking a worldwide credit crunch.
As soon as trust between banks went out of the window, banks stopped lending to one another. And when banks stop lending to one another, they are short of funds. And when they're short of funds, they stop lending to individuals. And that's what the sudden death is all about. The credit market has simply dried up.
As confidence evaporated, banks and building societies here restricted their lending, effectively squeezing first-time buyers out of the market.
The 95%, the 100% mortgage is now out of the window. You have to put a minimum of 10% down to get a house. Again, many of these tracker schemes are now out of the window. You have to pay a much higher rate of interest to get a mortgage. And all this means is that first-time buyers who don't have the deposit are finding it very difficult to enter the market in 2008, whereas in 2006, not needing a deposit on a 100% mortgage, they could get their foot onto the property ladder.
House prices here have fallen by as much as a fifth since the record highs of last year. Properties in the middle of the market have fallen by around 10 to 15%, but it's the lower end of the market, properties worth $250,000 and less, that has suffered the biggest drop in prices. In Craigavon, Johnny and Rebecca Newell, who took out a 95% loan at the height of the boom, are struggling to repay their mortgage. How much of your income would go on the mortgage every month?
Well, bills and mortgage, it would be 85–90% of my income.
And that's changing every month.
Yeah.
As oil prices rise and fuel prices rise, that's changing. And just with the position that we're in, my circumstances are changing. So my outgoings might be more one month than they are the next, just with my course. So, I mean, it is a case of managing our money well. It is quite an unnerving position to be in, because you're meeting the mortgage payments every month and you're not even sure if your house is worth it.
Here in Craigavon, house prices appear to have fallen as quickly as they have risen. Last year, the type of house that Johnny and Rebecca bought for £141,000 had been bid up by almost 50% to over £200,000. Today, the builder is selling the same three-bedroom houses for just under £135,000, a £70,000 drop in the latest phase of the development. As builders cut prices, some of those who took out 95% and 100% mortgages in developments like this at the height of the boom could be sitting on large paper losses. The University of Ulster's price index reveals that the worst hit are those who bought last summer. If forced to sell, they could lose up to £80,000 and £90,000. We asked one of Northern Ireland's most experienced residential valuers if negative equity is now a reality here.
The genuine losers are the first-time buyers. The genuine people who were buying to have a home. In the very, very short term, on paper, they could be in negative equity, they could have lost a lot of money. And so the ones who are real losers are the ones that have to actually sell their homes. Now, for some reason, whatever, maybe they're moving jobs, maybe a couple are splitting up, but they're the real losers, and they probably need to go and seek advice and talk to their lenders.
The advice for first-time buyers who took out large mortgages last year is don't sell unless you absolutely have to. But why are house prices fluctuating so dramatically in new developments like this one? We brought Brian Patterson to Bluestone Hall to find out how a phased development works.
Phase 1 here, Phase 2 here, Phase 3 here, about 50 houses in each phase. Phase 1 he'll price reasonably cheaply so he can establish the market. Then he'll up the price for Phase 2 and Phase 3. It's purely all about timing as you go through this development, and the people who bought here are probably all right, and then suddenly in the last, anyone who bought since the summer of 07 is in difficulty.
Johnny and Rebecca have been researching local house prices on the internet. There are currently 28 three-bedroom houses in similar styles for sale in the development, but with asking prices that range from £210,000 to less than £135,000.
What we can see is that There must be somebody here who has paid over and above, perhaps maybe what the houses are worth, or what they were worth at the time, and we're just unsure as to whether or not our house is going to be in that same bracket.
Okay. Well, the spread of prices here is very, very confusing, Johnny. And there's lots more people out there confused than just you two, I think. The variance is huge, and therefore somebody's wrong. If the builder's price is 135, it's probably inconceivable that that house or any house of the same type could be worth 210,000.
Builders are now setting the market price in housing developments. As the housing slump deepens, some are reducing prices by up to a third, according to the Construction Employers Federation. Some builders are now so desperate to shift stock, they're offering to pay both the stamp duty and deposit on new homes.
If you travel around Belfast or indeed around the province, you'll see that many house building sites, there isn't work going on them because builders have wound back there. A significant proportion are self-employed, and they will naturally move to where the work is. But all the indications that we pick up are that at the moment there has been significant unemployment in this sector.
With up to 30% reductions on new houses, it would seem that first-time buyers have never had it so good, but falling prices haven't helped people like Brian Maguire. A year after his girlfriend pulled out of a joint sale on this apartment, he's back at home with his parents and finding it impossible to get a mortgage on his own. Brian earns £30,000. To hold on to this apartment, he would have to take out a mortgage that's almost 6 times his salary. You're in full-time employment, you're a quantity surveyor. What type of mortgage is available to you today?
The best mortgage I can get at the minute is for £149,000, and the repayments on that would totally cripple me, and I know they would totally cripple me. With any other outgoings I have and just to live, I know that it would totally cripple me.
What would the repayments on that be?
I think it's around about £700 without insurances.
So with insurance you'd be paying about £800 a month?
£800. And then on top of that you have your living, food, you're actually in maintenance charge within the apartments, car payments. It's leaving me with virtually nothing for a life after it. Is it really worth the pain? I just have to take that leap and take that chance. But it's something that I want to be independent again, and I'm sure everybody just wants to get their food on their property ladder, and I'm willing to take that chance.
Brian is trying to secure a mortgage on an apartment that may already have decreased in value.
It's probably going to be easy, the one there with the dormer window.
Now, how much do you think it's worth today since you put that deposit down?
Well, I understand from I've seen some of them on the website on the property news that there's second floor apartments and ground floor apartments. They're going for around about £30,000 less.
So you're basically haggling to get a mortgage on an apartment that may already have devalued?
Yeah, that's the whole issue, which is a complete nightmare.
Brian says he wrote to the developer McAleer and Rush 3 months ago and asked if he could swap his deposit from the £220,000 apartment to a less expensive one in the latest phase of the development. McAleer and Rush told Spotlight, "We're currently considering our options with our solicitors in relation to his signed contract, and we hope to be able to revert to him with our decision in the near future." The biggest price drops have been in the buy-to-let sector. So what happened to those people who invested in houses like the one Beth Robinson agreed for sale at £250,000 last year?
Well, this house was agreed for sale last year at £250,000. The deal actually fell through, and we now have it re-agreed at £165,000.
That's an £85,000 drop.
It is. It's a 25% reduction in last year's price.
Was this someone who bought a house hoping for a quick turnaround, a quick buck, and it has gone against them?
I think that probably is exactly what happened with this particular house.
So they've actually taken a big loss?
They've taken a loss.
As buy-to-let properties continue to fall in value, more and more investors are now trying to offload apartments and houses in an already saturated market.
There were very few properties on the market this time last year. There were around 4,500 properties in the whole of North of Ireland. At the moment, there are over 25,000 properties.
Not only are fewer houses selling, but amateur investors who stretched themselves to buy one or more properties are now coming to the end of the discount period on their buy-to-let mortgages, and banks